And I'm live. That is pretty cool. Today is 28th of February 2026, Saturday, not January. And before beginning, one quote from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, some random quote. This one says, shit, okay, I did read this one before, okay, some other one. Okay, yes. To the rational animal, the same act is according to nature and according to reason. So that is some objective claim that is some objective claim about the world itself. To the rational animal, the same act is according to nature and according to reason. So if you use the process of logic to reach some conclusion or some process, then that also has to be the natural process. Okay, that is something that is quite heavy, I think. Shit, I didn't set up my tmux. Okay, yes. Tmux it. Catch TSEHACH chess and 451. Okay, and one more thing, we have to do front end, and I want to be smart about what I do with the front end. I don't want to be totally mechanical because that just seems stupid and slow. So yes, I want to be smart about what I do with the front end, how I work on the front end. 752 and 300. That was correct, yes. And 63,600 plus 180, 3,600. 3,066, yes, 3,300, 3,600 plus 180, 3,780 minus 126, 780, 680, 680 minus 26, 3,600, 80 minus 26, 54. Correct, cool. Okay, one source front end, run the front end. Cool, it is working. Logs, Ecclesiastes, logs will be here, log.md. And yep, set up WebSocket protocol. This was set up yesterday, so that is cool. Initialize front-end architecture. Yes, at least we have the architecture. We did have the architecture yesterday. Okay, cool. Now, what I want to do today is two things. Is change auth from headers to cookie. That is one thing. And another thing is figure out, hmm, yeah, we'll figure out how to use front end like stuff like shared CN and other component libraries and be smart about front end, and like you do not figure out beforehand how to be smart about front end unless you do, uh, unless you are smart about front end. You have to be smart before figuring it out. Okay, let's make this change happen on the back end first because we barely have anything on the front end. So change auth from header to cookie. So let's do this. Changing auth from header to cookie. And the cool thing about this is everything is modular. So we just have to go to APIs. Inside APIs, there is a access plugin, auth plugin, access plugin, auth plugin. This auth plugin takes the headers. We just have to change this to say cookie. And wait, shit, if I just substitute headers with cookie, does it work? Header, this split does not exist on cookie unknown, but we are saying question mark. It should hopefully exist. But yes, before this auth plugin runs, we have this error plugin, which adds stuff on the headers, status, and return error plugin if there is some error. Game API plugin, this takes in headers, gets stuff from the headers. Okay, before actually doing something, I want to understand how headers and cookies are different from each other. When a request is sent, there is a header section in the request, HTTP request. But what is cookie? Like, how is cookie different from headers in that sense? When an HTTP request is sent, there is a header section in the whole text which is sent as an HTTP request. What is cookie? Is cookie just another section in there, or does it have some special properties which headers do not have?
Great question. So cookies are indeed just another part of the headers. They're not some magical alien section floating off by itself. But what gives them a special property is that they're used to store small bits of state, like a little memory your browser shares with the server. So when the server sees a cookie, it can recognize you, track your session, or personalize responses. In short, cookies sneak in as a header, but they're the memory glue holding the conversation together.
We could do the same thing with headers. Why do we need cookies here?
Good catch. You could cram all sorts of state info into headers. No technical law stops you. But cookies are a neat built-in mechanism that browsers handle automatically. They can persist across requests, even survive browser restarts, and they can be set with different lifespans. Headers alone don't store that kind of continuity easily. So cookies are like a lazy shortcut. No need to reinvent the wheel.
What does it mean for browsers to have support for cookies? Does it mean that the browser remembers the IP address and the cookies which are supposed to be sent to that IP address?
Not quite. So the browser doesn't just memorize IP addresses and tag them along for the ride. Instead, cookies are tied to the domain, not the IP. When a server sets a cookie, the browser remembers that cookie for all future requests to that domain, not just one IP. So the browser's basically a meticulous librarian filing cookies by domain name, so it knows exactly which ones to send back each time. IPs, too ephemeral.
Okay, so if I have a domain and let's say I am using a front-end library, some sort of like JavaScript, and using some browser API, I attach a cookie to the browser. Does it mean that the website on which the domain on which from which this JavaScript script got onto the browser will get attached to that cookie?
Spot on. Yes, exactly. When you set a cookie via JavaScript, it's tied to the domain that served the page. So even though your script is running in the browser, it doesn't create a new cookie for some random site. It stays bound to the domain from which the script originated. So that cookie is basically a tag belonging to that site.
And can we change and remove cookies from the front end using JavaScript?
Absolutely. JavaScript gives you a pretty straightforward way to control cookies. You can change them by just overwriting them, set a new value, and voila, cookie updated. And you can remove them too, just set their expiration date in the past, and poof, they're gone. So it's a bit like having a cookie remote control in the browser. Use it wisely.
And do we get cookies from the backend response also or not?
Yes, we do. In fact, that's one of the main ways cookies are set. The backend can send a set cookie header in its HTTP response, and the browser will grab that cookie and store it. After that, the browser will automatically send it back with every future request to that domain. So cookies are basically the backend's little care package. It hands them out, and the browser keeps them safe.
And is it done automatically? Like when the server sets some cookies to the response which is going to be sent on the front end, does the browser automatically catches that and attaches those cookies to that domain, or does the front end has to parse those cookies and manually set them on to the browser?
It's all automatic, no manual parsing required. When the server sends back a set cookie header, the browser swoops in like a diligent librarian, grabs it and stores it for that domain. No code intervention needed. After that, every request to that domain just carries the cookies along for the ride. No extra effort from your JavaScript.
So from the front end's point of view, we don't actually have to care about the cookies. It is just the back end which has to care about the cookies, and the front end only has to check if there is a cookie or not. Because if there is no cookie, uh, no auth cookie at least, then the front end will automatically can route to the login page. Otherwise, they can go to the domain page.
Exactly, you've got it. The front end doesn't need to micromanage the cookies, they just silently do their job behind the scenes. The front end just checks, say if there's an auth cookie, if it's missing, then yep, straight to the login. If it's present, then the front end just assumes, all right, this user's good to go, and takes them to the main content. Simple but effective.
And there could be a function which checks for the error if there is an error which comes on the front end through the back end saying that there is no authentication. Then also in that case, or maybe the auth headers have expired, in that case also the front end can reroute to the login page.
Exactly right. You can set up a global error handler on the front end, like a catch-all for HTTP responses. If the backend returns something like a 401 unauthorized or a specific error code, your function can catch that and, yep, redirect to the login page. That way, even if the cookie silently disappears or expires, the front end stays sharp and the user gets pushed back to authenticate again. Keeps everything nice and in sync.
So cookies are nothing special. They are just some uh, thing in the response request cycle, just like headers. They just have a special privilege given to them by the browser.
Exactly. They're basically headers with a VIP pass. Technically, they're just another header field in the request response stance, but browsers treat them as little state keepers, persistent, scoped by domain, and sent automatically. So they're not magic, but they do have a special role in keeping web state alive, like little memory bookmarks on a page.
That makes quite a lot of sense. Okay, let's go. Shit. Okay. Ghost. Okay, that makes sense. So we can just like say uh, here cookie, and everything just checks out, I guess. Okay, we use Zod to save parse the cookie, and yep, this is like a resolve. This adds these new fields of user and color and everything to the context it is called in Elysia. So that is cool. And here, but we are getting error. Why are we getting error here? Cookie is a variable. Cookie string cookie string to string. Okay, that is fine, no problem with that. What is the type of cookie? A record is string to cookie unknown. Cookie unknown. Cookie unknown is some type. Cookie unknown is some type. Hello, Vim config. You want the Vim config? Yep. GitHub slash wait. My name. NMRC. Here you go. I hope this is correct. And it is. Yep. Let's go. Yep, let's go. I added some like support for Codium, which is cool. Which is cool. You can use Codium now in NeoVim. Right. So that is cool. Okay. Mm, cookie cannot be undefined. Cookie is absent. Let's see how to use Elysia cookie. Yep, because authentication using cookies seems like more professional, better. course, stuff, key validation and everything about cookie. For headers, we get headers like get it. Where are we? Validation. Okay, validation. Mm, yes, this is something we can do where we say what the type of something is directly. We tell that thing to Alicia, or we could use sword like this schema type. Get where is cookie? Yeah, cool. So in cookie is why do we like go away from this thing? Cookie, cool. We get slash cookie, we take in cookie and we tell this thing cookie. Cookie is of type cookie unknown. What does that mean? Headers. Cookies must be provided in the form of t dot cookie or t dot object, same as headers. Cookies have additional properties set to true by default. Specs t dot cookie is a special type that is equivalent to t dot object, but this is what we use if we are telling Alicia beforehand what we are expecting the cookie to be. But if the cookie is not like that, then what happens? We are using Zod to do our bidding. Okay, so let's say we use this. Yep, let's say we use this, and token is going to be of type cookie unknown or defined. If no cookie, then throw an error. And the type of value of this thing must be a string. If no cookie or type of cookie is not equal to string, then this. So if or for a string we can check separately. If type of cookie equals. I don't know if this will ever be valid. This is valid. That is cool. Cookie argument of type cookie unknown. No shit. We are checking here that the argument of type shit token is a string. Okay, and before, so at this point we know that the type of this thing is a string. So here before passing we have to do dot split because it is a string and get the second. Split does not exist on type never because token is never going to be of type string. Okay, I have some questions. Hello, I am using Alicia for backend and there I am getting cookie. Wait, I think I should use Claude for this free plan. Let's go. Uh, Desktop app, maybe not. Wait, can I talk to Claude? Shit, that would be cool. Use voice mode. Okay, allow.
Hey Jatin, how's it going?
It is going fine. I am using Elysia JS for my backend, and I am getting cookie from the context which has been given to me for some endpoint. And the type of the cookie is a map which has a string as a key, and the value is of type cookie unknown. What does that mean? How do I convert it into a string and get authentication token from it?
Right. So you've got a map where each key is a string, and the values are cookies of some unknown type. That's a bit awkward, but here's what's happening. You're likely dealing with a cookie jar or cookie store that Express or your framework is using. To get the authentication token out, you'd typically access the specific cookie by its key name from that map.
Okay, the voice feature is not pretty cool because I said Elysia GS. I might have stumbled, but ChatGPT would have caught this. Yeah. Text is cool. Text is cool. Elysia GS for backend, and I am getting cookie from the context which has type map string cookie. I think that is the type. Yep, that is the type. Cookie unknown. How do I get values as strings or like something like what is this unknown type? Cookie unknown type. Dot value property recommended. Wait, okay. Dot context dot cookie my cookie dot okay shit that makes so much sense. So dot object is possibly undefined. Now I will probably get something type unknown. Unknown is much better than never string. So if type of token is string only, then do this. So why are we getting error that type of string and undefined or undefined is not assignable to parameter of type string? We are not assigning anything to anywhere. Yeah, I think this, yeah, expected this, okay, dot split this thing on, so this might, if you were to pass a token like as it is as a string, that would be cool. Okay, let's call this instead of token value, and here we'll say token, and here const token equals value dot split at comma, and if token dot size, token dot size is a C++ thing, length, and this length is not a function but a property, is not equal to 2, then error. Otherwise, do this, and here give token. Hmm, this should not be undefined like this. Token dot length. We are checking the length, and then we are getting in this thing. Okay, let's say if token 1 is not equal to undefined, only then do this. Cool, makes sense. Else, or what if this thing fails? JSON verify. What if this thing fails? If this thing fails, I think we will throw some error. No, we are not throwing some error. We are calling here JSON dot verify, which is not a function that I wrote. Yes, which is a public function, library function. Okay, so we should be throwing some error. We should be throwing some error here if the cookie is not right. I think json.verify itself will throw error. This thing JWT verify itself will throw error because we are like here doing dot payload as JWT payload, all of that stuff that will throw error, and on error we will just throw something off. I guess if we put this in, yeah, that is fine. That is fine. This is already built on top of error plugin, so we are cool. Message error cool. And else if we did not return, then throw new error invalid cookie. No auth. I think that should be enough. No auth. Cookie. This thing, yep, this middleware should be cool now. This captures the cookie and adds it into the context as the user. Seems to be cool. And then this thing captures that same cookie. Does Zord verify on the thing? It already has the user. Does Zord verify on the thing and gets color, time, and increment from this.data? Shit, these things should be in the headers. My bad. This should not be a cookie. And substitute this with headers. Okay, cool. The details about the game should be in the headers and everything else in the cookies. Cool. Does that look cool? Yep. Yep. Let's test this out with some comments. We will also comment this thing. But back and the backend is running. That is very cool. Hello, front to the sky 32. Okay. Cloud code is the best. Paste the code and ask for the solution. Wait. Yeah, that is one thing I can do. Or uh, but I like to explain my code to Claude because that improves my explanation skills about what is happening. So that is kind of cool. But like, yeah, when I cannot explain, I would have to copy paste the code. And then we have to Postman. Okay, and Postman, how do we set up cookies? Cookies, yes, fair enough. Add domain, localhost, colon slash slash, localhost, 2222, add domain. And to this cookie, I would like to add authorization. Uh, wait, what is the thing? Yep, authorization is the thing. Authorization and the value. Value has to be correct. Value will be uh, wait. We already have a value from tests. Test game. Yep, this is one cookie we can use. Yes, with bearer. Copy this whole thing. Okay, we now have to see how this goes. Okay, save. Let's see. If now we have this localhost 3000 and cookie is not going to be read from the header, it is going to be the token is not going to be read from the header, it's going to be read. Wait, cool. It's going to be read from the cookie. So that is cool. Establish a connection. Do we have we do have a cookie with localhost has 0 cookies. Why does okay shit, that is messed up. That is messed up. We lost our cookie. Oh, this was the format. equal to is the format. Authorization, and then comes the cookie. Copy here, paste, cool. Save the cookie. We do have the cookie now, and if we send a request disconnected, internal server error is crazy. Internal server error is crazy. Authorization is being sent from here also somehow. Okay, authorization, that was the header. Response is not right. Localhost true. Okay, let's see what is cooking. APIs, plugins, auth plugin. This is the main one, I suppose. If cookie is undefined, throw new error. Console.log got cookie. Got cookie. Let's just say, and then got cookie. Run the server again. And here, if we send this thing again, got cookie, we saw got cookie once. So we got this, but we got false here and we threw this error, no auth cookie given. Authorization, authorization. And what did we do here? Cookies, 0 cookies. Okay, that makes sense. That does not make sense. Cookie one, add. Okay, shit, every cookie is differently added. Okay, I didn't know that. Cool, okay. Authorization and got cookie common inter tests test game here. Okay, save and remove all the rest of the cookies. Okay, and cookie number one. Cookie number one we didn't save. Paste, right, and this is authorization. Save. Authorization is one of the cookies. Now let's see, connect. We got cookie, but we got error. Okay, helper group, APIs, plugins, auth plugin. Okay, so there is some problem with this. Console.log value and also console.log cookie and also console.log cookie authorization, authorization, authorization. Cool. Stop the server, run again and connect. Authorization is there. Name, path, value hash, right? Set, update. Wait, I guess authorization. Let's just say authorization and connect. Okay, authorization is this whole thing. That is cool. Console.log value dot set Nope. Update path value. What is value? What will we see now? Value is undefined. Okay, how is value undefined? If we print this, then we do get this whole thing. And how is the value undefined? AUTHORIZATION equal to this whole thing. You have to give counts, semicolons like this, single quotation marks, because we are getting the cookie jar should make AUTH. This value is not going there. Local host. This is where we are going. So we should be sending the cookie on localhost. Yes, we got the same thing. Let's see. Maybe this might be a postman problem. Let's see. We can also use some front-end library to do the same thing. Let's see if if we update our tests here. Yep. Instead of headers, we would be putting this authorization into cookies. Okay, how do we put cookies in this? How to set cookies? Shit, this is a WebSocket connection. Can we send web? Can we set a cookie to? Shit, can we send a cookie? Set a cookie when using WebSocket? Right, I think that question does not even make sense. Can we set a cookie when we are using WebSocket from the front end side?
Ah, tricky one. So no, WebSockets don't use cookies automatically. Once a WebSocket connection is established, it's like a separate channel. No headers are sent along with it, so cookies don't just ride in. If you need authentication or state, you typically do it in the initial handshake. For example, by sending a token from the front end once the sock is open. Or you set a cookie first in a normal request, then establish the WebSocket. It's a bit of a manual workaround, but that's the reality of WebSockets. They don't just automatically inherit cookies.
But not during the WebSocket itself. But to establish a WebSocket, there is a HTTPS request which is sent. How do we set cookies to that request? Because we can set headers, so we should be able to do the same with cookies.
Ah, yes, you're totally on point. During that initial WebSocket handshake, that upgrade request, cookies do indeed get sent automatically if they belong to that domain. You don't have to manually attach them, since the browser treats that upgrade request just like any other request. It sends along all relevant cookies for the domain. So once that handshake happens, the cookies are already there, and the WebSocket connection can proceed with that context.
Let's say I have JavaScript program that I have written, and it is using WebSocket, the WebSocket native library with bun. How do I set a cookie to that initial HTTPS request?
Ah, so when you're using Bun's WebSocket library, you don't get direct control over the HTTP headers in that handshake. Bun's WebSocket API is pretty minimalist. Instead, you'd handle it by ensuring the cookie's already set in the browser, if you're in a front-end context, or you might pass a token manually. For example, if you're using an auth token like a JWT stored in a cookie, you'd extract it from the document cookies on the front end and then attach it in the WebSocket URL like a query parameter. It's a bit manual, but that's the workaround when you don't have direct header access.
But putting the authorization JWT token in the query parameter is very unsafe and actually pretty stupid. But using a cookie would be better, and I am not using this WebSocket native library on a front end. I'm using it as a normal script which is running on bun. So how do I set a cookie here?
Ah, gotcha. If you're using bun in a server-side context, like a bun-based script, then you have full control over the HTTP response. After you handle the WebSocket upgrade, you can manually set a cookie in the HTTP response header. For example, you use Bun's response API. And before you send the WebSocket upgrade, you set the set cookie header just like a normal HTTP response. Once that's done, the browser will store the cookie, and then any subsequent requests, even the WebSocket handshake, will carry it along.
No,
So in short, you
I'm using WebSocket API as a client on bun running on a machine and not on a browser. How do I set a cookie there to be sent to a server?
Ah, I see what you mean now. So when you're using the WebSocket API as a client in a Bun script, acting like a backend client, there's no built-in way to attach cookies like you would in a browser. If you need to send some form of authentication or state, you'd have to explicitly send it as a header or a custom field in your WebSocket message. In short, you'd manually store any cookie-like data yourself, maybe a token, and send it as a header or parameter, since the WebSocket handshake is just a plain TCP upgrade in that context.
Mm, Shit, shit. Okay, so if we do go forward with cookies, we will not be able to mm, run tests like this, which is important because we want to run tests like this. So shit, I guess we will have to roll back to header based authentication. Shit, that is pretty sad, but okay, fine. Substitute cookie with headers globally. And here value, instead of value, we will say substitute value with not gotten token, uh, error token question mark dot split and space and get the first thing out of it. And if this thing does not exist, I think this is quite a bad practice here. Splitted. Now, if splitted dot length, yes, this could be undefined. So if splitted and if is splitted equals undefined or splitted length is not equal to 2, then throw an error, otherwise get the token. Token would be equal to splitted 1. The one thing from splitted. Okay, now we do have something. If token, then do all this. Otherwise, if not token, then also throw an error. No auth token provided in the headers and a few comments would be nice. Verify headers exist and yeah, get the token, get the user and attach it to the add user to the context. Cool, error API, fine, no problem with that. And headers, yes. errors. Everything should be fine now. If we stop this and restart the backend, and here we say one run test. What we see? We see that only one player wants to play a game. Why isn't Gintoki trying to play a game? Common tests. Okay, Gintoki does not have a token, actually. Shit. Yes, that makes sense. Now Gintoki does have a token, but it is outside headers. It should be inside headers. But run test and connection is made by both the players, and we are moving forward with the match. Cool. Now we can start working on the front end again. How you doing? Hello, I'm doing amazing. How are you doing? And do not call me sir. It is your humbleness. Mm, this is kind of like beautiful to watch this. Yep, there's going to be checkmate on the board soon enough. Yes, go. And I want to add a few more games to this testing process. And then checkmate now. Close enough. Now checkmate. Cool. I want to add a few more games to this process, to the tests. So for that, I will have to play a few games. Let's play a few games and at least one. Yep, game two. This should be named one because it is game one. Yep, let's play one chess game, like just one, and we will add that here as another test game. That would be cool. And if there is someone in the chat who would like to play a chess game, that would be cool. Otherwise, I will start another game on my own with some random player of the internet. And yes, we cannot add cookies because they do not work well with how our tests are designed. We cannot set cookies from when we have a server side API client for our tests. We cannot set cookies there, so we will, yeah, we will not add cookies there. It is kind of sad. Log. Okay, this is done. Yep. If someone wants to play, they can just say, cannot add keys because we don't have because there is no way to add cookies to the HTTPS request which is sent to establish a web socket connection for the tests, and thus tests won't work for a web uh, socket connection, which is uh, which is a bad thing. We want our tests to work. Okay, so we won't be adding cookies now. Yeah, we can move on to the next thing, which is figure out a way to use front-end libraries in a smart way. And before that, I would just play a chess game, 5 minute chess game with a random player playing online. 5 minutes would be cool. This is Blitz. And when like the front end is somewhere good. We would be able to play a game on the site that I'm building. But for that, I would have to publish the site and the front end and the back end both, and also set up a CI/CD pipeline so that if I do make some changes on GitHub, they should be visible. They should the server should automatically update. Okay, going fast, are we? Shit, shit. Okay, if I were to go here, attack, then attack, attack. That is very sad. So going here is cool. But that way I would be blocking this. So going back is fine. And also I'll be protecting this. That looks good enough. Cool. Takes, take, takes. Looks good enough. Shit. Okay, shit. Yes, that is something that I did not expect. But I can just do go here. Bro cannot go anywhere. Nope. Yes, that is one place, but nope, nope. But yep, yes, bro can go there. There, nope. Yes, that is one place bro can go. Okay, cool. With momentum. We also have this at some point. That is nice. Takes check, but yes, can be stopped by this. I can just go back, but then that is fine. Or I could have just taken the shit. Yes, I could have just taken the pawn because my pawn was protecting this. Okay. Okay. We can push. Maybe not. Shit. Shit. Yeah, I will probably lose this. This one. But we will have a nice test case for our thing. This lacks like no thread at all. Uh, Yes. Shit. Perfect. What I was thinking. Shit. Bro can take. Bro can take. Attacking the queen, but queen will move because he is smart. Or she. Both of my rooks are under fire. Okay, not anymore. That's all. Yes, sad. That is a long game. It would take time to put this game in the test case. It would take some time. Okay, cool. GG. Yes, like of course, Blender, of course. Let's put this game in the test case so that we have one more test case. Why do we need one more test case? Just like maybe there is something wrong with the backend, so we might need some more test case. Let's have these tests in a separate file. Games.ts. Export, export this, export this, and this is going to be our game. Okay, full screen. Cool. Two. This is a long game. This is a long game. To put this in there, that would be. Wait, maybe I can ask ChatGPT to do this thing instead of manually doing this. How do I copy this game? Share, embedded. Yep, this thing. Yep, maybe ChatGPT can help here. Let's see. This is a chess game and change its format and write it like this below example game. And the example game is this. Okay. If this is correct, that would be cool. Okay, let's see. Here the last move is queen. Queen moves from. I think if I click on the move, I will directly go there. Yes, cool. The last move was a d6 to d1. Is that the last move here also? By white. D6 to D1. Okay, cool. But how does this work? E2, E4. The last move was made by black. Okay, cool. The last move was by black. I think that might actually be correct. Let's see. Game. We'll call this game 1, and we have game 2. Okay, yeah, separate window. Game 2, game 1, and here index.ts import game 2, and here use game 2 back end 1. Back, run the back end, run test, and do we play that game? Let's see. And yes, make this a little bit faster. Tests, index.test. 800 milliseconds for each move would be cool. Run test. Cool. 800 milliseconds for each move. And this is how the game is going, and this is the actual game. We will see how it goes. Hello. This seems to be going fine. Yes, I did blunder my queen there. I was playing white. Takes. Yep. And then I moved my king, but here something happened. Okay. What? Play a valid move. Gintoki played a false move, which was G1. Yes, it's shit. G1 is wrong. G1 is not a move. I played H1 G1 actually instead of G1. Games.ts. Here, where is. Okay, we have quite a few of these moves. Where is G1 G1? Here. This was H1 G1. And when? Here, H1 G1. Then Queen. Let's see what is the next bad move. Button test. And it would be cool to have this test run faster. Like, what about 80 milliseconds or 100 milliseconds? Button test. And what is the move at which we break? This one. F2, F8 to F2, F8 to F2, F8 to F2. What moved from F8 to F2? Okay, before this move, F8 to F2, the last move was F1 to F2 of the rook. Then the move was A8 to F8. F8 to F2, that is said to be the wrong move because, yep, that is A8 to F8. And then H2 to H2 does not even make sense. And after this, the move was G1 to H2. So G1 to H2, and then F2 to F1. Uh, nope. And then F8 to F2. F8 to F2, and then D5 to D6. Was that the next thing? Nope. The next thing was H2 to G1. To G1. And then E3 to E2. Nope. Yes, E3 to E2. Then G1 to H2. G1 F1 to H2, E2 to D2. E, there is nothing at E2. It is F1 to F2 to F1. F2 to F1. Cool. And then G3 to G1. There is again nothing at G3. The move was D5 to D6. D5 to D6. And then Queen E1, E2. E1, E2. Again, even E2. D6, D7, D6 to D7, and E2 to D2. Okay, E2 to D2, E to D2, and then King H2 G3, H2 G3, E2 to 7, D7, because the queen took that, and back from G3 to H2. That's one more thing. Okay, back from, wait, yes, G3 to H2, and then it was queen from D7 to D6, D7 to D6, cool, and then it was I think my, not my king, B2 to D4, B2 to B4, B2 to B4, and then the pawn with a check, that would be E5 to E4, E5 to E4, almost there, I think, at the end of the game. Then, oh shit, there are some moves left. Okay, G2 to G3, G2 G3, E4 E3, G2 G3, E4 E3, cool. And there were some extra moves. See, after this, king, rook, and check. King, H2 G2, F1 F2, H2 G2, F1 F2 with a check. And then I guess the king moved from G2 to G1, G2 G1, and then queen from D6 to D1. The last move, D6 to D, shit, D1. That was checkmate. Then the test again. And what do we see? Yes, pieces are moving quite fast. But then, okay, shit. Last move made was D5 to D6. We got invalid move E1 to E2. Okay. E1, E2, E1, E2. D5, D6 was the last move. F2, F1, F2, F1, F2 to F1, F2 to F1. And the position on the board was, last valid position on the board was this king. This rook was here. D5 to D6. D5 to D6, that was the last valid move, this thing. But why is the queen here? Shit, in the real game, the queen is here, but here the queen is there. Why? The queen has been there for a while. Okay, queen was there. Then what happened? Queen was there. The rook moved below. Shit, this has been wrong for a while. Okay, like, okay, let's build on top of this game. Then Okay, shit, yes, this is the right position. D5 to D6. This pawn did move. Now it is black's turn. Black moved E1 to E2. But the queen is already there. So let's move some random pawn from black's position. A7 to A5 instead of this. A7 to A5, let's say. And everything else should match up, I think. But run test. Okay, we are running the test. Pieces are moving. Okay, pawn did move, but then again there was a problem. D6 to D7. We moved D6 to D7. E to D2. Okay, we moved quite a bit ahead. King moved H2 to G3. H2 to G3. Then it was Queen's chance to go from D2 to D7. Queen is on D2, can go to D7. So what was the invalid move? The invalid move was E2 to D7. Okay, shit. That is a mess up. That is a genuine valid mess up. It was black, so here D2 to D7. Okay. Manual test. Checkmate, and the game has ended. Cool. That was cool. Nice. Now we can start working on the front end. We have some extra test, and right now I'm like pretty sure that the backend is pretty fine. Backend is pretty fine. We cannot change authentication from headers to cookies because our tests would fail. So yep, that is a sad thing, but okay. Figure out how to use front-end component libraries, how to be smart about using front-end. Okay, I don't know. Shad CN is something, and all Shad CN and Accenture, not Accenture, Certainty, Eternity, front-end library. Shit, I think this is it. I forgot the name of the library, but okay, let's use shared CN library if someone knows. Hello, Kakashi, how's it going? Do you have any experience with front end? I want to be good at front end, and by good I mean I want to be smart about what I do in the front end. I do not want to hand code everything. Yep, shared CN is cool, but I have not used shared CN. New project. Why do we have projects? Build your own Shadcn library, customize everything from the ground up, pick your component library, font, color, scheme, and more available for all of these. User form. This looks cool. Okay. Login. Okay, there is no login. Okay, there is no form. Okay. Home. What does home mean? GitHub. What does GitHub mean? Okay, I can add these things. Do I want someone's card number? No, I do not. And something like this would be cool. How do I add this form? Yes, form. Yes, this is this error that I got there. That was cool. Yep, please fill in the field. That is cool. How do I use this thing? Save. Um, um, open in V0. How I use this theme dark. I can change the theme. That is cool. System theme can be light. It is not light. Uh, documentation. Should I guess I am messing this up in some way. Hello, how are you? Yeah, like you can import their build in things instead of, yep, that seems like a smart choice. I think it is front end awesome, but never used, so don't have much idea. Yep, me too. Let's figure it out. And why are there two browsers open? Okay. Um, directory components. Yes, components. I would like to have React router manual. Okay, so what do we have to do? We using bun add shared scene and all of these things. Okay, tailwind css components are styled using tailwind css. You need to install tailwind in your project. I think we already have tailwind in our project, so that is pretty cool. Source front end here. What do we have? If all of this delete. This is the main thing, and I think we do have tailwind. Last name equals, I think, height 10 or something that works. There is no tailwind LSP support. Why tailwind CSS is working? Yes, it is working. So I guess we shit. I guess I messed up all the other parts. Tailwind CSS. I have to add it manually because I removed index.css and app.css completely. There are some things which have to be added there. Tailwind config white. I think it is already there. Okay, shit. Tailwind config white is not there. Bun add tailwind at the rate tailwind CSS. At CSS white does not work. Bun init. Right, shit. I am inside a bun project. Bun cannot find a package dot json pack, right? Like legit, it is right here. Bun install. Bun could not find a package dot json, which I can see with my own eyes here. Toastified. Shade Toastify is also some library we can use for front end things. Shit, bun package.json is right here. Tailwind is not here. I thought we added Tailwind when we were initializing the project. Bun add express anything. Okay, Bun is not seeing this library somehow. Maybe Tmux is messing up something. Shit, no, Tmux is not messing up anything. One could not find a package.json or file to install from. To install from. Install Tailwind CSS. Wait, so, okay, where does Bun look? I'm using Bun to install Tailwind, and in my project is a mono repo which has a front end directory inside the source directory, and inside that front end directory, I am doing Bun install Tailwind CSS, but Bun is giving me error and saying Bun could not find a package.json, even though package.json is right in the directory where I am trying to install Tailwind CSS.
Ah, that sounds frustrating, but it's usually a simple path problem. When Bun says it can't find the package JSON, it's probably looking in the wrong folder. Make sure you're running the command from the exact directory where the package JSON is. If it's a monorepo, you might need to ensure Bun is operating from that front-end directory. You can double check by running ls to confirm the package JSON is right there. If all else fails, you might try specifying the path explicitly, or just run Bun from the parent directory and see if that works. Let me know how it goes.
No, package.json is in the directory where I am running Bun. How do I specify the path manually?
Ah, got it. If everything's in the right place and Bun still can't see it, you can try explicitly pointing Bun to the project root by using the -cwd current working directory flag. For example, run something like bun install -cwd frontend. This forces Bun to treat the frontend.
Okay, that is cool. We can manually provide the directory. Bun and cwd. This is the directory, and tailwind css could not find package.json, package.json is right here. Bun and tailwind css. Okay, now it is working. Where was this added? The problem probably is because of monorepo. Yep, because of no shit. No, it is not because of monorepo. Yesterday this was working. Yesterday this was working because I added in the front end itself. Uh, something shit. Okay, is it because of common? Common? No. I added shit. Where is the thing? Axios should be here. I did add Axios. Maybe Axios went to the source directory outside because Axios is not there. It is also not here. Okay, so how am I able to use Axios in here? Components. No, it is in helper function users.ts, and here Axios. Where is this Axios? This is inside front end node modules. So we are able to install it there. Okay, we are in not inside front end. Right now we are inside front end, and we do have Axios here. Do we have Tailwind here? No, we do not have Tailwind here. We added Tailwind to package.json here? We have added Tailwind CSS here. Okay. Shit, my camera. Okay, did mess up. My bad. Wait. it fixes after this. Yep, cool. Cool. That is good. And it is for notifications. Toastify. Shade. Okay. The thing that you get at the top. Okay. Cool. We can use that for incoming requests if someone is challenging someone specifically. But before that, we have to set up Tailwind. We cannot even set up Tailwind somehow. Source, front end, bun, run, white. Okay, we do find bun in this context, but bun add Tailwind CSS. Now the thing is not there. Stop the server because this like takes up quite a bit of CPU, I think. OBS is taking the most amount of CPU. Okay, okay. So this is not working. What is not working? Tailwind is Bun is not installing Tailwind somehow. Okay, is there something we can do? I think we don't really have a lot of things in our source directory, so we can delete that. Yes, we can delete that and install and reinitialize a Bun project inside the front end. Inside the front end, yep, we can reinitialize a Bun project inside the front end, but is that actually necessary? And also we will not be reinitializing a Bun project, we would be initializing a white project, wheat project, like this. Bun create wheat. Let's try that out because this just does not work. Bun add tailwind css. Yep, this does not work. So we will move the important thing, which is source, to uh, back. Where are we right now? No such directory. Move source to, okay, ls source is not here anymore. That is cool. rmrf front end bun create white, bun create wheat, not white, wheat project name. Front end is not the project name. Project name would be front end. Front end is nice. TypeScript, fast compilation. Nope, no beta version. Install with bun and start. Yes, but this didn't ask us for Tailwind. That is bad. Can we add Tailwind CSS now? We can add CSS. Bun add Axios. Axios, cool. And shit, how are we inside source? Did I mess up? Okay, yes, makes sense. Yes, yes, makes sense. We are inside source. Makes sense. Front end ls rmrf source, this current source, and move from the home folder. We have a source folder there. Here ls, we have our right source folder. Now go to this folder and we have everything that we wanted. Cool. So tailwind is there now. Okay, cool. Tailwind is there. We did tailwind. We also have to do tailwind add white, this thing. And tell me this will fail. It is not. Cool. And are these things going to the package.json of this thing? Yes. Cool. Okay, so we have Tailwind and how to configure white.config. Add these lines, import Tailwind, white.config Tailwind, and with React Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS and cool. And in I want to CSS file import at the rate import Tailwind. Which file is being imported here? Index.css is being imported here. Index.css. Import Tailwind. That is, yes, that is right. And everything is cool. Cool. Shit. Okay, cool. Yes. React. Bun add React router. Bun run white. Is it working? It is not working. Why? Imported dependency. Something failed. React router DOM. Bun add. Okay, shit. The server is running somehow. Bun add React router DOM. Cool. And bun run white. Can we run without errors? We can run without errors. Cool. So we have our Tailwind. Cool. Next step. All this to add shared scene and then configure all tsconfig.json. This one. What do we have to add? Compiler options are not here like at all. But okay. Compiler options is an object. You can just copy this. Compiler options, cool. And the rate alias is a preference. Configure the path alias in your tsconfig file. Then configure styles. Okay, let's just trust them. And yes, camera is okay now. Source index dot css. Shit. No. Copy multiple times. Yes. Cool. And what else do we have to do to make this just work? Add a cn helper. libs.utils.ts. I don't think we have something like this. No, we do not have. Should I think by lib they mean helper? Makes sense. And in components.json, wait, components.json, create a components.json file, create a components.json file in the root of your project. Okay, let's inside utils.ts. Let's say here we have utils.ts, which should not have compiler options, but this thing instead. Okay, and in here components.json, components, nents components.json. Cool. This schema and everything, all of this. Okay, and that is it. You can now start adding the components here. Cool. Okay, let's see, how do I find some component blocks directory? What is a block? Building block for the web. Clean modern building blocks. Copy paste into your app. Browse all blocks. Rendering. Okay, is this like taking time or what? Sidebar with collapsible submenus. Browse blocks. Login. Shit, that looks good. And how do I copy this? A sample login form. Cool. Npx shared cn add this. Okay, cool. I just have to run this command, I think. Do you want to proceed? Yep. Shit, npx. What is Bun's version of npx? I think it is just one. Bun. It is. I think it is just bun x. Okay. Or bun. Both work. Shit. How do I like undo that last command? Bun. The last command. Exact last command. Bun x. Updating files and cool. Inside components, we have quite a few stuff, and if I think we should get something, can I say login? This is a thing that I made. This is not my bun. This login form. Yep, this is what I made. My implementation of a login form. If I delete this, how do I use the one by bun? Open in V0. Hello, do you play any games like uh competitive games? Wait, comp uh I played Minecraft. If that counts, I but more than playing Minecraft, I watch Technoblade playing Minecraft. He does not upload new videos because like he's not anymore, but Technoblade is one of the best people. And he's very cool. And this does not work. Shared scene. How are they, by the way, inserting this whole thing? Wait, do I have some extra directories? Assets was already there. Okay, there is a components module from which I can import this. Shit, that is error. Cannot find lib slash utils k cn lib slash utils. Okay, I think as a professional, I should make a lib directory here inside which I should have this, a new folder, new file, utils.ps, which is this, and no error till now. That is cool. And this component is new. Here we are still getting error. Why? Okay, let me set. I think because the root of the project is not set up properly. Package.json module version 0.000 build dev and all that. Okay, okay. ChatGPT, how to set up root of a project so that I can use at the rate to refer to files. Yes, this is kind of bad in dsconfig path. Okay, in option one, this is option one. Inside tsconfig.json, do this. If you are using Next.js, if editor, if you are using white, yes, I am using wheat, not white, wheat. Inside there is something like this, wheat config.js. Nope, there is nothing like this. Okay, path is something new. Default export plugins is always completely different than plugins. Tool, we can just add this here. Does that work? Path does not work. Shit, I should not delete path. Import paths from path. Okay. Think we are okay now. Inside components, we should have been okay, but we are not okay. Okay. I can manually change this thing to like dot slash. Okay, now it works. But we should not. We should be able to use at the rate here. If I also change package.json to this compiler options, base URL, there are no compiler options. Okay. But this might break something else. Let's see if it does break. Base URL is this, and okay, set components, still error. This at the rate is going somewhere like totally else. Share, yes, chess from time to time. Mm, I could substitute at the rate with like parent folder double dot. Wait, but I would, yeah, shit, I would have to do the same thing everywhere. Cannot find a Radix UI. Okay, let's also install Radix UI. Okay, at least. That one error should be fixed. Redis, yeah, Redis UI is there. But okay, at the rate, shit, this at the rate should not be problematic. Components, project root is the current folder, okay, and every this becomes source utils. It should not become source. It should not become source because lib is not inside source. Maybe lib should be inside source. Makes sense. Lib should be inside source. So inside source, we will have a directory called lib. In there, we will have utils.ts, which has this. And is it utils.ts or util.ts? Delete library. Yes, delete this. Here, utils. Okay, cool. Now this should be working. Shit. Oh, okay, it is not working. White config this thing, resolve current data name source alias package.json also says the same thing. Base URL current paths at the rate everything is there. And who is giving error? Shit, I think, how do I turn off the TypeScript server LSP? I think the TypeScript LSP is giving error. I think the TypeScript LSP is giving the error. And maybe what we want is already what we have. One, well, why does it work? It does work properly. And if we were to import some components in here from components like this, the name is export function, this login form. Cannot find name login form. Okay. Import, go to that components login form, import login form from this, and okay, one run white and no error apparently. So if we go localhost this, we see error. Shit, failed to resolve import dot components login dot tsx inside the main folder. Shit, yes, the main folder. Shit, the main folder. Yes, shit, yes. Login does not exist any longer. Are we okay? Now we are, but failed to resolve at the rate lib utils import. Does the file exist? Yes, that file does exist. Components. This thing is giving error in this file. Shit. I guess we should use manual path in that case. But okay, we should use manual path, I guess. But but we should be able to use this relative path, this path. What you doing now? Now I am trying to use this like a relative path with at the rate. Mhm. Cannot find module this or its corresponding type declaration. Okay, not about file missing. What is at the rate? Check this. Yes, we do have this. Cool. Which is in, yes, a library is inside you source, which also has utils. Extends front end ts config dot json extends the previous TypeScript restart TypeScript. After editing this, your dev server, your editor's TS server, this thing. Yep, that is not the case. LSP, yes, LSP is giving error, but maybe it is because of the LSP. But this should not be because of the LSP, because we are trying to actually run the code. LSP has no say in what happens when you are trying to run the code. Oh yes, let me take the lazy path and just copy paste errors. Yes, let's see. Shit, this has to go in tsconfig.json. Okay, my bad. That makes sense. Okay, shit. tsconfig. Okay, shit. This is tsconfig.json. Do we have the base URL? Yes, we have like legit everything. Wait, shit. Source was different. Source was different. Okay, everything. Okay, run inside. There is some update in Vim update. Lua snip is updating. Okay, synchronize. Cool. Okay. And okay, shit. Error. Import this error. This is still error. Fix in tsconfig frontend. Add this. This is here. This is here. Okay, this whole thing. Okay. This whole thing. Files, references. Shit. Compiler options. Target. Okay, this whole thing comes inside compiler options. And then include src. Okay, then delete compiler options from package.json. Restart your editor, restart white. Package.json, remove, stop. It is already stopped. Okay, nothing is running. Run white. And if we go to the front end, error. The thing does not exist. cd source front end. I'm like legit going to cry. Include source back everything. Ensure your source files are included just below compiler option. Wait, include source files are included just below compiler options in tsconfig. Why am I not able to copy this? Include source. Let's say go back and current. Wait, I was getting suggestions. What is source? Do I say source inside current folder? Go back and include everything. Run wide and still there is error. I guess I'll just use manual path here. We can just substitute at the rate with dot slash source shit with dot slash source. And how is it? That is also wrong. Shit. Dot dot slash dot dot slash. uh, we are inside front end. Inside front end, go to source. Inside source, there is lib. Cannot find lib utils. If we go back, there is source, there is lib, there is UTI. If that was the mistake the whole time, UTILS, UTILS. It would be very sad. UTILS. This is working. If say at the rate is wrong. Cool. That was not the error. Slash source. Components has to be inside source. So why did this? Components has to be inside source. So why was component added here? Alice, move components, but inside source we already have a component. Inside source we already have components which like isn't really doing anything. So I can just delete this. Move components to source. Right, and n source slash components. Dot dot lib. So in these files, substitute dot literal slash source with dot dot. And we are okay, at least here. And dot dot okay dot libs okay so this should be working dot slash slash lib slash utils shit. But yes, if we are going to go forward with this model, then we will manually have to change everything like this. Whatever new thing comes up, we will have to change it manually. Substitute at the rate with slash a literal slash dot. Do we want to go forward like this? I don't think so. It is a good idea. I searched it and it says to update the white config to resolve all aliases. Resolve alias is this is map at the rate to source directory. It says to add this flag in white config. I did add this flag to white config. It is here in white config. White config has resolve alias this. It is just not working somehow. At the rate path dot resolve this inside alias, which is inside resolve. Yes. I think shit. Why it is this? I think TypeScript. How do I turn off the TypeScript server? TSLS. What is stock trading? How to turn off TSLS and restart in white terminal. LSP start. Okay, Bro knows that I'm using Vim. That is cool. npm run dev tsls lsp stop and lsp start. Okay, let's like manually do it. lsp stop, yes, ts ls, okay, and lsp start ts ls, but it is not lsp's fault that this is happening. Yes, restart ts server command shift and no, this status bar automatically restart on file change. Sure. I think by TS server, they just mean the LSP components lib. This works, but this should work. Inside source, we do have lib. Cannot find corresponding type declaration. Okay. Yep, it is same. I don't know. But this is one time problem. If we solve this right now, so everything would be cool after this, which is a cool thing. I have in my white config everything that might be required, but it's still I am not able to use at the rate as an alias for source. White config is correct. Okay, the alias itself is correct. This is fine. Do you have tsconfig.json path mapping? Yes, I do have this mapping. Add this to it. Yes, I did add this I did add more than this, a bit more. Shit. Compiler options, base URL is the current place and path this. Are you actually importing files from inside source? Yes. Boot button from @components/button. But if you are importing from a file that is outside source, alias, not anymore. Are you using ESM in white config? What is ESM? Import path. If you are using import path, add and hmm, let's see. Wait. This this is JSON. This is a TypeScript file. Maybe I don't know. This is just a function. A function called define config, which is being called with an object. So we cannot like give something here. We can give something here. We can say here console.log. Let's see path dot resolve. I think we don't have the dir name. Maybe we don't have dir name. Dir name equals this. Const underscore dir name is this. What did you mean dir name? I did mean dir name, dir name from path, and resolve is also from path. Wait, we don't have resolve. Resolve is from path. File to path. Resolve has to be imported, but resolve is a key here. Maybe it was the dir name. Let's see. It was not the dir name. This is still not working. Components. Yes. LSB stop. LSB start. TSLS and error is there. Yep. Yes. Console.log dir name. And what are we looking for? I don't know. When we go to some component, maybe okay, where will this console dot log go? One run white. We do not have. Okay, shit. Yes, we do have this. Dir name is correct. Dir name is correct. Front end inside source is there is front end. Maybe the source is the wrong source and not the right source because we have multiple source. You are pissed off. Me too. This does not work. I stayed up all night and slept from 6 to 7, quite asleep. Then I thought I could fall asleep early. I couldn't get up. I went to bed at 10 a.m. Wait, p.m. Then woke up at 12 p.m. In the morning, I kept dozing, snoozing alarms. So I thought you fixed your sleep schedule. You were saying on Discord. Okay, like keep trying. It will get better. But here we have a problem here. Nothing is working. Dir name is correct. Underscore underscore dir name. File name. Dir name is correct. No problem with that. This path dot resolve. Okay, shit. Or cool. Resolve is from path. makes resolve this. Inside front end, there is a source folder. Yes, that is correct. Resolve their name, src console.log right here, bun run white right here. Yep, inside front end we do have source, and this is a valid path. If we were to do cd this thing, we are inside source, which is the correct place to be looking for stuff. Resolve just, I think, adds these two paths together like a string match. Alias at the rate should be aliased to this thing. We have resolve. We do not have file name. Shit, yes. What is file name? But yeah, whatever it is, this resolve is giving us the right thing. Define config button, not this wheat button wheat. Each not found is even crazy. 5173 localhost 5173. We are at localhost 5173. Okay, refresh does not work. Okay, now we have lost everything. Use host to okay, let me go to washroom. I'll be right back in 1 minute. Next time I sleep at 10. I thought I did too, but I was way too sleepy. Okay, it will take a few days, maybe even weeks, but you will get there. It will be cool. I cannot focus myself to fall asleep. Do not focus. Don't do anything. I'll just be in bed staring at the ceiling. That is fine. $1,000 once with 50-50 chance, or $1 1,000 times with 50-50 chance. I guess $1 1,000 times with 50-50 chance. Yep. Because at least I would be getting about $500 from this deal, and from this I 50% get $1,000, or I don't, a 50% chance I don't. But here at least I would be getting 500, almost kind of guaranteed. Also, if you lose, you go in debt. Either one, bet where you have 50% chance of winning this or losing this. Shit, I think this is a bet I would not take. This is a bet I would not take. Nope. But I would take this one. This is cool. But shit, if you mean here also, if I do not win $1 for at any chance, I would go in debt. Then I think none of these deals are good to take, because like you will be winning as much as you would be losing, so in net would be kind of zero. And let me go to washroom. I will be right back in 1 minute. And yep, I'm share. Yes, you can do that. Read some books or $1,000 bets, 1,000 bets where on each turn you either win or lose $1. 1,000, but you will, if you lose, then you will be like, you will have to pay 1,000 from your side. That is not a good deal, I think. I take these bets. Shit, bro is a veteran, experienced person. Shit. Okay, shit. I think if you keep thinking about these things, you will eventually fall asleep after using your brain too much. And now we cannot even go to the website. Localhost 5173. We are at localhost 5173. But does not work. It does not work. Shit. Run white localhost 5173. 5173. Shit. Okay, this is actually kind of crazy. What do we have inside this? Login form. Login form. Login form. Import login form from here. This site cannot be reached is a crazy statement to make. This site cannot be. Shit, how do you even fix this? This site cannot be reached. That is messed up. Shit, because right now it is not running. Run white. Now it is. The localhost page cannot be found. No website was found at this 404. Main as element app. If I go to Walrus, shit. Walrus here should be there, but it is not there. If we do all this, put this here, comment h1 I, and if we go to root, nothing. Okay, this page cannot be found. No page was found for web address. Why are there double? Okay, shit, there is double by default. This thing is double. HTTP? Is it HTTPS? This should, I don't know, HTTPS. Localhost 5173. Page cannot be found. What does that mean? Console. Failed. 404. Not found. Shit, is white config messing something up? Yes, it is. Because we are supposed to be seeing these things printed. We are not seeing these things printed here. Even though we are inside this. What is this source? Yes, this is the correct source folder inside frontend. Button right. Okay, we do see this thing printed now, and we are able to go there. Okay, cool. Bro, it doesn't read a question. You should see his first solve. Wait, what do you mean? Quantum? Yeah, What are you referring to? Whose first solve should I see? Quant is a field in CS where you can make the most amount of money. Yep, but you have to be very, very good. You have to be very, very good, like above 2000 in code forces. IDT, any other field? I don't think, shit, I don't think any other field in CS offers this much money. Yep, shit. But you have to be very, very good. Okay, this is at least kind of working now. I mean, but not really, but okay. Paste and uncomment. What do we see now? Login. Let's go. Login form. It is related to analyzing financial data. We have a login form. Shit. Login. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Login form. Login form. Login form. But are there errors? There are. There don't seem to be errors, at least not there. Are there errors here? No errors. Shit. So this is the expected behavior for the login form. Okay. This doesn't look very like okay. Okay. So we are able to import something, but how are we getting around the fact that we are doing this? Maybe it is just the LSP which is giving this error. I remove this whole thing. Okay, then there is error. If I add it back, then there is no error. And if I change this to at the rate, then there is no error. So, okay, so since we are able to import this CN thing using at the rate, and if I were to change this, then there is error. Utils. Okay, so we are able to import stuff from uh, we are able to give path using this at the rate. So that is cool. So who is giving us this error? This error is from TypeScript ls. Stop the LSP. LSP start yes ls, and we do still see error. Okay. Okay, so this is like much better than what has been happening. It become Harshad Mehta shit 1972. With Kakashi, do you want to play a chess game? I'm like getting very bored or like tired of coding, programming. Do you want to play a chess game? I will send you a link. Shit modular shit, you two are very good chess players. Any one of you can play a chess game. I don't think I've played against Kakashi, so I will play with you. I don't even know your username. Can you send me a friend request if you are up for a game? Should we did play the other day? Uh, let me send you a request if you are up to a game. I did lose. Yep, let's go. 5 minutes. Random. Send link. Okay. Let me also add you to my friends. That would be cool. Like you don't call me by that name, just call me okay, Rahul. Would you be up to a game? I don't know. Kakashi, are you here? Mhm. I guess maybe he left. So should I send you a link? Modular. Okay, bro played his last game against me. Challenge not showing. Okay. Wait, let me send again. Okay, let's go. Send challenge. Let's go. Cool. Okay, you are right. Shit, last time you messed up my queen. Uh, yeah, I don't remember how exactly, but yes, you got my queen last time. Hmm. Shit, yes, yes, that is one thing you could do. It is going good. And that's what motivated me. Okay, what did motivate you? Quant. Okay, shit. It is going. It is going to take more than just motivation. That is a very cool move. Shit. Protect, protect, but you will attack. Shit. Okay, makes sense. This is going fine. But I will lose because Kakashi, you know it's cool. I watched this guy on YouTube named Coding Yes, and he listed some simulators to break into quad. So I just started reading them. Okay, that is cool. I would just say like this is going to take time. So whatever you do, like think about it that you would be doing that thing for the next few months at least. So make your decision with that, and do not spend too much time thinking about what you should be doing, because you need to do something at least. That was not free. That was not free. Shit. Yes, that was not free. Shit. Let's go. Fork. Shit. Maybe not. Shit. Insufficient material. GG. Shit. Of course. Bishop fork. Yep. I messed up. Bishop fork. Bishop fork. The fork had been sitting there. Yep. Since this moment. Yep. My bad. GG. GG. That was cool. And back to the front end. Okay, shared scene. So, yep, LSP is the thing that is giving error. Maybe if I restart Tmux, maybe, just maybe, not probably, but just maybe. Where am I? Where is my mind? Okay, shit, error is still, there is still error. Or its corresponding type declaration. This is, wait, I think it is okay, but TypeScript is thinking that this is a type declaration and not a path. Okay, okay, that is a hypothesis. Let's check it. I want the same chat. Set up root project. TypeScript is giving this error. This might suggest that TSLS is looking at this as if it is a type declaration or something something like that, and not a path alias. And why do I think that? Because when we install types using TypeScript, we add at the rate to this. It tells us exactly what is wrong. Cannot find mod. Wait, is it saying cannot? Shit, it is saying cannot find module. But the second part, or it is corresponding type declaration, maybe. Shit, step one. Okay, the white thing is for white. Is config dot json. This does have this thing. Base URL is this. Compiler flags and everything is here. Path. There are these other things also. Okay, compiler options. This okay, this is a big thing. Compiler options. This is here. Linting, bundling, model, app.json. All of this stuff, linting, bundling, and stuff. Tsconfig.json. I'm not using Node, I am using Pun. Is it because of that? Here, if I do Pun, okay, this line is wrong. It should be this. Okay, what is the difference? Dot slash. I just added the dot myself later on. It was not there before. Dot slash source and everything inside source. If you go into components, error is still there. There is no tmux server running, so this is the only instance. LSP stop, LSP start, TSLS. Okay, shit. Today has just been figuring out how LSP works or figuring out this LSP mistake. I'm doing both the Odin project, full stack plus C++ guide to beginner. Uh, okay, if you're like just you said, and you want to get into quant, I was not able to get to 2000 in code forces when I was only doing code forces, and you are going to do two things at the same time and getting to code forces. I'm not like demotivating, I'm just saying maybe you are getting too motivated, and because the fall that will come later on, which will come, that would be like quite disheartening. So maybe make your choices like after giving it some thought, or like yeah, you can test whatever you want and like see how it goes. Okay. Shit. We also have to define that same thing in other files also. Okay, let's see inside app.json. This and we just have to add more compiler options. Path, base URL and path with a comma, and also to one lib module types node. Okay, I think I should change this back to node. Source components and oh shit, no error. Okay, is LSP even working? LSP is working. There is no error. Okay, shit. That is what success looks like. Okay, we have succeeded. Okay, 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 okay. Shit. Yes, okay. At the rate library. Okay, we can use at the rate now. We can use at the rate now. The rate library at the rate. We can use at the rate now. Substitute dot dot legit slash dot dot with at the rate. It did we also make a change in components? No. Okay. What do we have in our app login form? Or maybe nothing. Shit. Don't have anything. This site cannot be reached, localhost refused to connect because nothing is running on there. Tmux. We have to set up Tmux again. Cool. Do the alias later. Okay, why are you learning C++? What is your goal? Me, I want to get better at C++ and like stuff. C++ 20 is cool. It has like drastic changes, just like C++ 11. You can manage both, but it will take more time because you are covering two things. What is the issue in alias? Uh, this is resolved. I just had to add this thing to both package.g. Okay, white started working. This when we do run white, it is working because we this thing is working, and for the LSP errors that we were getting inside the files, we had to add these compiler options to these three files, it seems, and now it is LSP is also working. Well, my time span for both of these is quite large. That is cool. Getting into quant is like really hard. Yes, it is very hard, and the chances are low even if you know everything. So giving my full priority to that would be too risky. Learning C++ on the side doesn't hurt. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. That is cool. Okay, it was from LSP. Yep, error was from LSP. Now it is working, and now Emacs it does. Wait, what? Server was not found. Tmux kill server, nothing. Tmux set. Uh, We will have to do now a bit of maths. Not very difficult maths. Okay, should maybe a bit difficult maths. 8600 minus 7 560 560 46 40 7 6 42 602 uh 7000 and 9 8 I think, correct. 60 1800 and 1800 420 and 2220 almost. 18 into 27, that would be 20. 400 plus 140 540 540 540 minus 40 500 minus 14 486. Correct. Okay, shit. These things are like very cool. For this, 86 into 90 plus 80 into 3 plus 6 into 3. Yep, I did 86 into 100 and subtracted 86 into 7. Yeah, this is cool. I can also do this. 90, 80 into 3 and 6 into 3. Yep. Cool. Okay. source, front end, run white, and this is working. Is this how this is supposed to look like? There are no errors here. Yep, I think this is how it is supposed to look like. This is what terminal, this is what new. We have this. Okay, how do we do like whatever? How do I make it look like this? A simple login form code. Okay, shit, that makes so much sense. Okay, login form with this. Shit. Import login form export default page. That might that does work. We just do not have dark black theme. How do we say dark? How do we put dark theme to this? There is dark theme here by default. Components. This we have multiple of these things. Okay, we have quite a lot of these things. We could use this login to with a photo here, or this muted background color, or this with black. I think this is cool. This is cool. Let's. What is this? Shade. That is cool. That is cool. Import login form, login page. We will have a login page. This is using Next.js because the folder is structured. It's like this. Okay, we will have inside components login form. Yep. Let's have my own directory self, and here login dot tsx. Copy this whole thing. Okay, shit. I thought we messed up somewhere, but no, that is cool. Add login, go to login page. And here, if we go to slash login, we do have this. That is much better. Log into your account. Okay, that is cool. That is cool. That is cool. That is cool. Join politics. Okay, shit. Who is this? I'm a Roman. I don't know. Man group. Wait, he's a man on LinkedIn. Hmm. Man group. Mathematics graduate from University of Oxford, enthusiastic about problem solving, computing, finance, and data analysis. I am interested in exploring artificial intelligence and stuff. That is okay. Mathematics. This looks like a Python library. Uh, NumPy. Yes, this is like NumPy logo. Shit, no. Kind of. Yeah, no, this is not NumPy. Naruto didn't become a Hokage in a single day. Shit, that is true. Naruto didn't become a Hokage in a single day. Okay, let's add a image. And how do I make this black dark theme? Dark mode. White theme equals this. Okay, dark mode in a bit. Before that, let's put a photo there. And since this is chess, who represents chess the best? I think Mikhail Tal. Let's have his photo there. That would be nice. Like I have two people who are like very very much better than me in chess. What do you think about Mikhail Tal? Mikhail Tal is cool. We can have his young photo. Mikhail Tal 4K. So that is not 4K. He used to smoke quite a bit. That is pretty high quality, but he does not look like Mikhail Tal. It, that is not Mikhail Tal. Hmm, that is good. That is a good photo. And yes, how are we going to copy install this photo? There is copy link address and then ls public. Inside public, we are not going to have anything other than photos, so I should not make a folder named photo. There was a command tldr curl. Oh, and shit, no specific URL. Remote name this. Download a file saving the output. This way, what? File. No URL is specified because this is capital O. Okay, shit, my bad. Now it is working and move file Miguel Tal to T capital respect dot zip. Does this work? Could not be opened. Shit, I messed up. Wait, top 5 inches. Miguel Tal goaded. I don't know many people in chess. Miguel Tal was cool. Bobby Fischer. I only know the buzzwords, buzz like famous people. Miguel Tal, Bobby Fischer, and I don't know other. Shit, there was Boris Sabowski, who has a very famous quote. Someone asked him what is his favorite position. He said in chess or in what? I think it was Boris who did Bobby Fischer not lose to, beat to be a world champion. Boris Spassky. Boris Spassky. Yep. Okay. photo. So we were not able to download that photo, and okay. Mikhail Dal, Latvia. Shit, because this is not a URL for the photo. Copy link URL. Nope. Copy. Open image. New tab. Copy image address where we have this. Copy image address. Yes, it was here. Move this JPG to kaldal.jpg. Cool. And open kaldal.jpg, and we do get this. Cool. That is very cool. How do we put this in the website? We can look at the source code, like legit look at the source code. Placeholder.svg. Nope. We will have we can give okay shit we can give a link from the URL. That is something, uh, a direct link from the web, or we can have it in public. Can we do this? Slash dot dot slash public slash Mikhil Tal. This thing dot jpg. This does work. Okay, shit, this does work. That is one thing. Cool. That is cool. That is cool. That is cool. Okay, I want to change this, like front end here. This does not look good, and also this white logo has to be changed. And I think we just have to do that from index.html. Title front end. Nope. The title is Shah, which is chess, and this white dot svg. We need some other svg. Rook. Okay, for pawn. Wait, I just thought. Wait, no, which? Boris Pasky. Which message Mikhail Dal is cool. He has insane feats. I think he was world champion for some time. Also defeated Bobby Fischer. Yes, he and Bobby Fischer were rivals. Mikhail Dal was born in 1942, if I remember correctly. But now Magnus is the goat. Magnus is very good. I mean, I cannot say that because I do not understand the things. But okay. Uh, Mikhil Tal was born in 1942, I think. Shit, 36. Mikhil Tal in 36. Then Bobby Fischer was in 37 or 42. I think Bobby Fischer was in 42, not Bobby. 43. Shit, okay, I am messing up at both the places. Which Fischer? I thought this made the joke or position in chess. Shit, I think it was Boris Spassky. Uh, quote. Shit, not quite. Quote. Win or lose. Question is if you survive. Quotes and pictures. Okay, and this is now like times quote. Mm, about about this position. Shit, who made famous quote about this position. Chess is the gym, the beauty. Chess is just life. Chess is not the faint. This is art. Mikhail Botvin. Should I have heard this name? Probably from Levi, Gotham Chess, Gary Kasparov. But it is not here. Ac- Wait, have we been just like imagining in our heads that there was a chess code about positions? Uh, so many deep analysis and prep done, and he still beats everyone. It's crazy. Yes. She works in quant. Okay, that's who I would be competing against. Okay, let's go. Let's go. All the best. So it is a risky path, and it is going to. It's not a good idea to make that as my main goal. Okay, like just pick whatever you want and just work hard. That is the main thing. Like whatever you want, just work hard. Like everyone. Okay, I'm getting a call which I'll be picking up later on. Okay, and it is almost like 3 hours, so I will be ending the stream now. It is not my only competition, but Quant is skewed towards having intelligent people. XT, you are good at chess. You, you are good at chess. Maybe uh, Peter Thiel might take you chess rating. Shit. He's 2300. That is crazy for a tech billionaire. 2300 is crazy. I think Gotham Chess is 2300. Holding a peak FIDE 22, almost 2200. Peak USFC, US Chess Federation, I think. 2200 is crazy. 2200 FIDE is crazy. Peter Thiel. This is Peter Thiel. He looks different. Is it some other Peter Thiel? Peter Thiel profile. Because 2200 is quite a bit. Okay, no photo, nothing. Peter Thiel. Let's go to Peter Thiel. Yep. Yes, the billionaire, PayPal co-founder, and played 10 video rated games. His rating was, okay, yes, 2200. And that is crazy. That is crazy. Peter Thiel. I could survive against Peter Thiel for a few moves. He is too good somehow. I don't think I'm intelligent and probably average in intelligent, and oftentimes I'm dumb stuff. So hard work will have to make it up. Yes, hard work will have to make it up. I'm not saying yes to you, to your claims of you not being intelligent, because like what can I say? It is no billionaire beating Nikhil. Shit. Nikhil Kamath is, yep, actually pretty good, right? He can beat anyone. Uh, Vishy Anand also. Okay, and this would be it for today. That would be it for today, and thank you for being here.